Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We have an absolute banger for you today. Corporate media is dead, but I'm not. I'm right here, ready for all of you. To the intro. I'm just kidding. There is no intro. Do you think I'm really that entitled that I do an intro? By corporate media, I mean corporate media is dead, but by corporate media, I don't mean like NBC. Well, I just mean news in general. All right, buddy. One problem is Santa Claus. Santa Claus is the biggest lie in American, Japanese, Turkish, Chinese, whatever. It's the biggest lie in history. And there is people that believe that he's real. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna find that video real quick. Okay, so I just found the video. It's actually by this guy, Henry Belcaster, and I'm sure that you've seen him before. He's the guy with like the green screen or whatever. And I'll put the video in real quick, because we're making a point here.
Real, and he's 1,753 years old, but where did he come from? So, 280 AD, Turkey. No, Turkey, the country. And there's this humble monk, Nicholas. His kink? Well, gift giving to poor people. Now, once there was this poor man with 3 daughters, and he's got a huge problem. He was so poor he couldn't afford the dowries for his daughters. Basically, money you pay the groom for taking care of your bride. But without this dowry, the daughters wouldn't marry. They'd be sold into slavery, but hang on! Ho, ho, ho! And the next night? Ho, ho, ho! And the third night? Ho, ho, ho! Yeah, Nicholas saved these daughters by gifting them money. So he became the spirit of giving, eventually turning into this big fat guy traveling with reindeers. Get more of our free lessons on smartnonsense.com.
Now, Henry does make a very good point there, because he talks about Saint Nick, which is in Christian religion. He is like Santa Claus, kind of. But the problem is that we're not talking about Saint Nick here. Saint Nick is referred to as Santa Claus, which is true. And like my dad always tells me, he used to always tell me that like Saint Nick would come and get stuff from the stockings, then take it to Santa Claus. So we're talking about Santa Claus here, not Saint Nick. But he does make a good point there in Saint Nick. All right. I have a paper here that has, let's see here. I have 7 different reasons why. Actually, I have 8, but one of them's not on the paper. So starting off with number 1. And for those wondering what I got in the cup, freshly brewed, probably 30 minutes ago, some hot tea. Excellent. Here we go. Number 1. According to emailsanta.com, which it's uses it, you can also chat with him in there and stuff, which is AI. It's obviously, which, think about the sources here. Emailsanta.com, that is, I would say it's a trusted source. He is currently 1,753 years old. This is very eye-catching, because while there is no limit on how long a human can survive, this is highly unlikely someone can survive that long. This would mean he was born in the year 271. And now you might notice that in Henry's video, which it really shouldn't relate because it's Saint Nick, he's talking about 280 AD, which this is 9 years off, but this is what I got as of like a month ago on emailsanta.com. Point number 2, there is no record of his parents. Santa would have had to had parents, and with how popular he is, I feel like it's very odd how his parents aren't documented. Now keep in mind, this is Santa Claus, not Saint Nick. Santa Claus is the big fat guy. And I've looked, and I honestly don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I didn't find any record of his parents at all, which is really funny because I feel like as with how popular he is, there'd be records of his parents, but I guess not. Number 3, Santa lives in the North Pole is commonly known to be the answer to where does Santa live, but this is false because according to mentalfloss.com, this is like the only like article I could find. I don't know why, but mentalfloss.com, they seem like a credible source. .com. The North Pole has no land and is made of large ice sheets. This would further support my theory. Also, my 6th grade science teacher, Mr. Sell, told me that there is no land on the North Pole. So you're telling me that the Santa Claus guy has these massive buildings, because that's what it shows in movies. He's got factories up there and like residencies in the North Pole, but there is no, and I mean none, there is no land in the North Pole. It's all ice. It's don't get me wrong, that ice is thick, but then you gotta think about plumbing, because you have to, and you gotta have heat too. That's not gonna be good on the ice. You gotta think about like plumbing, all that. How does that work? Like it's not on enough. That moves us on to number four. Number four, according to Santa's Dot Christmas, that's what the website was. Santa eats exclusively cookies and drinks milk and hot cocoa. Exclusively, exclusively cookies. While milk can hydrate, cookies will not keep you alive. They do not contain the nutrients you need to survive. I feel like this is pretty obviously known from the start. Like, nobody's surviving off milk and cookies. And another problem is, they're going to make these cookies somehow. So how are they going to get the ingredients? Think about it. They live in the North Pole. You're not going to have flour there. You can't grow anything there. So you have to get this all shipped to them. And I just feel like it'd be kind of hard to ship stuff to the North Pole. I don't know. Y'all might have seen these right here. These are like my most favorite CDs ever. This one's goated. Wanted Dead or Alive, Living on a Prayer, You Give Love a Bad Name. Those are all goated. This one, like this actually, I bought this one after that one. I've kind of really liked CDs lately. I don't know why. I feel like it's cool to own, just like, because Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, and Rollin', and Love Train, and Wild West Show, they're all really good songs. And I feel like it's just kind of cool to have them, like, you can play them really whenever. And also that back there, that's my PlayStation 3 fat. It's like the big fat one that's backwards compatible. I'm gonna have to do a room tour sometime. But we gotta get back on with our paper here. I'll leave this a picture of this paper at the end. Number 5, and this is honestly probably a really big one too. There is no nation that Santa lives in because nobody owns North Pole. I'm pretty sure nobody does. I've looked and I haven't seen anything or anything. So, but the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is is on the UN's website. In Article states in Article 4, no one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Also in Article 23, it says everyone has the right to work, to free and choice of employment. Now, listen, this is kind of a tough question because I don't think anybody ever says that elves are slaves. I think that they do it voluntarily, but I feel like they're just kind of like the elves are a mystery too. Because where do these people come from? Like they're just a bunch of short people. Like are they bred? It's almost like they're animals and they're bred in the North Pole and they're just like forced into that. If they're not forced, this is completely useless. But if they are, then that is literally violating human rights. Now, number 6. According to iSpotElf.com, Santa makes 14,809 14,829 toys an hour. 14,829 times 8,760, which is how many hours are in a year, equals 129,902,040. And that is literally crazy. That's how many toys are made in a year. Hold on. I gotta look. Okay, so I found out the biggest toy manufacturer is Lego, but I couldn't really find much about how much they actually sold. But right here it says on their website, as of 2022, their revenue grew 17% to DDK 64.6 billion. I do not know what any of this means. Operating profit grew 5% to DKK 17.9 billion. Net profit grew 4% to DKK 13.8 billion. So that is pretty notable. Okay, we just gotta factor this in. 129 million. If you round that, that's pretty much 130 million toys. Maybe that's not a lot, but that seems like a lot to me. And this is like the only site that I could get for this part, but according to Dimensions.com, Santa's sleigh is 28 feet by 8 feet. This is not nearly enough to hold that many toys. Now, okay. You could say that you don't know how deep it is. I don't know how deep it is. It never said. But 28 feet by 8 feet, that is not enough to hold a million. I mean, even if it's really tiny toys, that's not enough. But I don't know how deep it is, so maybe it's really deep. But I feel like let's say we go for the movies. Let's say it's all in a sack. All right? Magic isn't real. We all know that. Magic is not real. like, and then magic tricks that's just illusions. So how you can't just pull stuff out of a sack and more stuff just appears in there. So that is another issue. Number 7, also a pretty crucial one. Reindeer are real animals. While they do live near the North Pole, if they did live with Santa, they would likely die quickly because their diet consists of herbs, grasses, fungi, and leaves, and they eat 18 pounds of food a day. Okay? Well, Cletus, there's plenty of food in the North Pole. Just eat all the cookies. You're telling me that a reindeer could survive off cookies and milk for that long? Because from what I know, there's never any new reindeer. It's always the same ones. So they've been around for over, I mean, at the least 500 years. You're telling me that can survive 500 years eating cookies and milk? And if you believe that, go to your bed right now, lay there, and think about what you just said. And then right here, reindeer only live up to 15 years, according to gclet.org. .org. That's massive. Because whenever it's .org, it's a government site usually. If it was .com, because .com is more of a commercial thing. Not that .com can't be trusted, but .org, like it would be us.gov or .org stuff is like foundations and stuff like that. Right here, another big one. According to also that same site, gclet.org, reindeer are not suitable for riding / pulling. First of all, I don't think reindeer can fly. Pigs can fly. Everybody knows that, but I don't think reindeer can fly. And second of all, I'm sorry, but with the amount of toys, it's going to be a pretty heavy payload for some reindeer. Because it can cause pain and discomfort, or discomfort. Okay, now this last one here, I don't have on the paper, so I'm gonna have to think about it for a little bit, but it should be pretty easy. Okay, all right. So I literally could just pull this one right on top of my head. Santa is violating the Fourth Amendment. If you don't want Santa to come in your house, and he does anyways, that's literally violating the Fourth Amendment, which the Fourth Amendment is protection to search and seizure. And he's not, okay, never mind. I was going to say Third Amendment, but he's not a soldier. Which also, if he violates the Fourth Amendment, that lets you use the Second Amendment on him. And I think we all know what that means. We all know what that means. So, unless Santa wants to get about 6 pieces of lead in him, he better stay away. By the way, we're clear. This is not a real gun. Just for show. So, Santa, if you're watching this, you might want to stay away. Because, actually, I'm just going to show you guys. Hope this is just for Santa so he doesn't mess around. Santa, you probably can't see it, but, you don't want to mess around, buddy. We can be friends. Right? Like, we can be great buds. According to USPS, which is a literal government site, all right, these people are delivering your mail. Think about that. All right. It is apparently Santa Claus, 123 Elf Road, North Pole, and then 5/8. So I'm gonna look that up into Google Earth right now, and I already know it's not gonna be a real address, but we'll see. I just put it in, and it took me to Santa Claus, Texas. Try to even show you this live. So right here, boom, 123. And it just took me right here. It says North Pole, but then if you zoom out, Santa Claus, Texas. Alright, so that concludes my thoughts. My final message to Santa is, if you are real, show up, buddy. I want to have a talk. But, listen, I'm sorry I have the gun. I didn't want to be intimidating. But, like, if you, just please ask me first, because if you show up at my house at, like, 12 o'clock at midnight and I hear some noise downstairs, I don't even have a chimney. Buddy. I'll probably reach for the knife or this thing. Might not be loaded, so I'll probably go for the knife. So, bye-bye, Santa. I'll see you later. And for the viewers, Don't believe what your mama says about Santa or the media. The media is a liar about Santa.